come a long, long way together, through the hard times and the good. I have to celebrate you, baby. I have to praise you like I should.
So my name is Pierre Prunin. I'm Motorsport Director at Spark Racing Technology. Yeah, so Spark is a racing car manufacturer. We are born with Formula E originally, developing the Formula E cars, so electric Formula. And after that, we developed the Extreme E, which is the electric 4x4 race cars. And we are now developing a new championship, which is called Extreme H, and it's obviously with hydrogen power.
So this is the car. This is the Pioneer 25.
Yep.
What is the powertrain?
So we have two powertrains actually in the car, which are composed of a motor, reductor, and here is the inverter. We have the same motor, gearbox, inverter at the front and at the rear of the car. They are both capable of providing 200 kilowatts, so a total of 400 kilowatts for the car. And then we have at the back end of the car, we have a nitrogen fuel cell that is delivering some power going through a high voltage battery and then feeding back to the motors. So, if it's easier for you.
Thank you.
So how it's working is quite simple in a way. We have two hydrogen tanks here, which are able to go up to 700 bars of hydrogen, feeding an hydrogen fuel cell that is sitting just below these tanks. So we have about a cubical shape, this size, let's say, below these two tanks. This fuel cell is converting the hydrogen into electricity, feeding the battery that is sitting in the floor of the battery of the car with high voltage electricity, and then obviously we are sending this electricity to front and rear powertrains. So like a traditional, let's say, electric car. So effectively, we are this car is acting like a hybrid car, a bit like a range extender type of hybridization. Yeah. So at the back, well, at the moment it's open here, but we've got the same motor and inverter gearbox than at the front, and we can see here the various cooling systems. So the car is equipped with 4 different cooling circuits. The main one, the biggest one, which is the radiator here, is for the hydrogen fuel cell. So it has the duty of cooling the stack. That's why we have 4 big fans in 24 volts. Then you have an additional small radiator here at the back that is cooling the auxiliary systems around the stack, so like a DC-DC converter and so on. And then we've got 1 front and 1 rear cooling circuit for the motors, front and rear. The battery itself is not actively cooled while we are running. We only cool it down when we are charging it in the garage. So this is let's say reducing a little bit the amount of cooling circuit inside the car, which is already quite a lot. But yeah, that's how it's working, and it's a carryover system from what we were doing in Extreme.
So I see there's lots of hydrogen tanks behind you.
Yeah.
So what are the biggest challenges with racing with hydrogen?
There are quite a few. For sure, when we started this project, and it's the same approach that we had also when we started Formula E, one of the important parameter is safety. We make sure that the car is safe. So this is the safety is composed of many different systems. There are passive and active systems. One important thing is obviously the roll cage that is very strong, protecting the tanks, mainly the tanks, let's say, but also the battery in the floor. So we have this strong roll cage. We have a carbon cover on top of the tanks. We have some energy absorbing material on both sides of the car, and all this is protecting the tanks and the high pressure pipes from being damaged in case of crash. So that's an important feature. And then we've got plenty of active systems, sensors measuring if there is a hydrogen leak or if there is any fault detected in the hydrogen system. But it's the same as what we are doing also with the high voltage systems. So we have isolation monitoring permanent in the car, for example. So it's just one step further and an additional layer of complexity, let's say, compared to electric cars, but it's in the same spirit.
Do you see hydrogen as a key competitor in the future of motorsport?
Well, I think it's. I don't believe that there is one source of energy that will answer all the all the problems that we have. So for me, it's one additional solution to a specific problem. Whether it's for motorsport or for other applications, it's the same. On the road, it's the same, or for trucks or for any other activities. I think we need to be ready for a mix of solution, energies, and so on to answer all the needs that we have or that we will have in the future.
What are the biggest misconceptions with hydrogen?
Well, I think the big thing is that many people are afraid that it's dangerous and that it's very difficult to handle and so on. And I wouldn't say it's easy to handle. There are some challenges, but it's in the end quite doable. And we proved that the car works, and we can make it work in a very difficult environment, very rough environment. You can see the car is full of mud and rocks and dust. So it's something real. It's not only in laboratories, and I think that's very interesting because I think still in the spirit of many people, this is the kind of solution that works for space technology or in laboratories, but not in such a difficult environment. So that's probably one of the good point of this car.
Is it a durable or is it fragile, a fuel cell?
Well, that's a good question. Often we refer it as a grandma because we say we have to take care of it. We need to make it sure it's warm enough, but not too warm. It's not too cold either. You can shake it a little bit, but not too much. But still, in the end, let's say that was really the vision I had maybe 2 years ago. That I was quite pessimistic, honestly, on the behavior of such a technology in such a car. And we see that in the end it's much more robust than what I was expecting, and it's working very well, because you have to imagine that the car is sustaining, or the fuel cell itself is sustaining 10 G's acceleration on a regular basis in this car. So it's actually very important shocks and vibration levels, and so that's actually a very good news that it's working well. And same goes with dust and mud. It's in many ways, I would say, over-delivering compared to what I was expecting. Or maybe I was too pessimistic, I don't know, but yeah.
Very good. So this car is powered by green hydrogen. So is hydrogen a good option to decarbonise motorsport?
Yeah, well, I think overall it's a good way. Well, motorsport in the end is a showcase. It's can be a marketing tool, can be a laboratory for technologies. We are not going to change the world with motorsport, and whether we do it, we run 10 cars with full petrol or hydrogen or electricity, it's not going to make any difference really on the planet. We can't oversell it. But at our little scale, for sure, it makes things a bit greener, and also I think it sends a good message, and it's helping the technology to develop, to make it more popular, to to show it's actually quite realistic, and I think that's the strongest, that's the most important thing. In the end, what we do with 10 cars is not so relevant. That's my vision at least. Yeah.
Good. So you've done plenty of testing. Is this the 11th or 12th test run now?
I think so. Yeah. Honestly, I haven't counted.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
What have you learnt about working with hydrogen and fuel cells?
Well, we've learned a lot. We've done a lot of modification to many aspects of the car. Some are linked to hydrogen, some are not. Because it's still a race car, so there are still traditional work to be done with dampers, with suspension, with steering, and so on. No tires. But still, on the hydrogen side itself, I think we have learned a lot. Our partner Simio also has learned a lot, and we have pushed them quite a bit in many directions. We have challenged them. I think we have worked also a lot on making things as robust as possible by adding some level of redundancy in all our systems. So we doubled some sensor, we make sure that we have different CAN lines running in different places in the car, because you can get easily some damages on one sensor, one wire or something like that, and you need to make sure that the car is still working in sort of a slightly degraded mode. So this is something that we have worked on, and that is a big challenge. Honestly, yeah, we have learned a lot on how to run the car operationally, because for a race team, timing is important, and you always have a tight schedule on the race day, and adding the complexity of, adding, let's say, the operation linked to hydrogen to an electric car, obviously adding some little challenging of this schedule. You need to refill the tanks, make sure that they are correct temperature and so on, charging the battery. So yeah, we have learned a little bit how to operate the car and the hydrogen in this racing environment.
And if this proves to be a success, do you think other motorsport series will follow suit? And has there been any interest based on the learnings?
Yes, yeah, definitely. I think it's the goal is to be the first always in motorsport. But I think that this championship will emulate some others. We see already some interest from teams, from other championships, from some technology providers, suppliers, and so on, which are discussing with us. We think it can become also a test bed for some maybe technical solutions that could be used in other championships. So definitely, I think it's a first step towards more hydrogen in motorsport, a bit like Formula E was doing it. It was the very first one in the beginning doing full electric cars, and now we see that there have been other championships with different variation and different level of electrifications, but it could be the same maybe with hydrogen, because there will be maybe some variant with, so hydrogen fuel cell is one solution, but it can be internal combustion engine, many liquid hydrogen instead of gaseous. There are many possible variations, but we are building up, I think, an ecosystem of suppliers and so on that will be in motorsport.
What's been the feedback from the drivers? Has it been positive?
Yeah, the drivers are really positive. Regarding the hydrogen itself, it's quite transparent to them in the end, because they, except switching on the hydrogen fuel cell at the start of the run, they don't have much to do with it. The car itself, they are quite happy with it. The behavior of the car is very satisfactory. We have implemented a lot of technical solutions in the car, which are lesson learned from Xtreme. So both on the let's say drivetrain, control, software, and so on, to improve the characteristic of the car and the drivability and so on. And so they are happy with it. Honestly, we have a good feedback.
Very good. Thank you very much.
No problem.